Music, dance, theater. It's time to take a seat on the aisle with Tom Alvarez. Hear from performers, producers, presenters, and creators who enrich our lives in the performing arts. Who's on stage? Here is Tom Alvarez to introduce you.
Hello, and welcome to On the Aisle with yours truly, Tom Alvarez. On today's episode, which is in two parts, my guests are Dustin Klein, pianist, music director, composer, record producer, arts administrator, and educator. In the second half, I chat with pianist, composer, music director, and band leader Sean Baker. Join me now as I go on the aisle for a conversation first with Dustin. Welcome to my podcast, Dustin.
Well, thank you, Tom. It's an honor. Thank you for inviting me.
You have been a guest on this podcast, and it was early on a few years ago when I started hosting this podcast. That would be back in this 26 now, like 24. Do you remember? It was early on when I started, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. I have a fond memory. That was a great interview. We got to reminisce about a lot of our beginnings.
And if anybody wants to go back there, it's we're going to talk about some specific things, but in that interview, we went over our history and all of that. So let's not repeat any of that, and people can still find it on the site. Actually, if they just Google your name and my name and On the Aisle with Tom Alvarez, they'll find it. It will take you there to the podcast because all the shows are archived, our previous episodes. And actually, people are still discovering it. So if you want to find out more about who Dustin Klein is, just Google it. And again, On the Aisle with Tom Alvarez, the name of my podcast, and the rest of my, the other platforms that I'm on. So Dustin, we're here today to talk about an upcoming event. And by the way, we've been together for 10 years, so we're celebrating our 10-year anniversary. So before we get started, why don't you give a brief thumbnail sketch about our history?
Well, you're right. It's very special. 10 years, 2016, we wrote an original musical. I think we did a preview, actually. That was the shortened version. And Indy Fringe, and we didn't feel like we even knew what we were doing. It sort of came out of nowhere, and before we knew it, it was loved and admired. It was like the number one show out of a whole festival. Then we expanded that into a full version. We did Indy Fringe in 2017, and then we both talked about how much we loved cabaret as an art form.
Did you give us the title of the musical?
Oh, yes, Calder the Musical.
And Calder, who is Calder?
Oh, yes. American artist, modern artist from the 20th century. Fascinating person. And I know we talk about that a lot in our first interview, but it was based off of a children's book that I was writing a children's play about, and then we had gotten inspiration from that book. But yeah, then we started Magic Thread Cabaret, I think around 2017, I would say. And we've done, 20 shows now, original shows, mostly original, right?
Yeah.
And worked with over 100, probably hundreds of people at this point, and still going strong. And now we are excited about this in Hampton, Callaway.
Let's talk more about Magic Thread Cabaret. Magic Thread Cabaret, after we produced Calder the Musical, it was presented in two shows. One was at the Indy Fringe Festival, and then shortly after that, we did a full production. And we had thought that we might, and I think looking back, we were pretty naive all the way around, but if you're going to do a musical, you like to think that, you want to go the distance. And a lot of people who write musicals have dreams of taking them to New York City, and we were no different. But once we started getting into it after the show closed, I thought we had to bring ourselves down a few pegs, didn't we? We found out that just what it takes to do that is pretty daunting. So I think what
It
it boiled
is.
down to it, and I think you'll agree, is we simply didn't have the resources because you had a full-time job as a teacher and I was doing other things besides this. They were part-time efforts. So we decided that we both loved the Great American Songbook and the cabaret art form, and we thought, why don't we, so that we can continue being creative, let's produce Magic Thread Cabaret. That would be our brand, and we would put on shows, and we would take young talent, local talent, and we would produce them. And
Mhm.
I can say that, and I think you'll agree that, we've been able to do that successfully all these years.
We have, and looking back since at this next concert on March 20th, we put together, as you know, Tom, a short a video of our some video clips and photos from our shows, and going through some of those, it just brought back so many memories. Over 10 years, you forget,
We were both involved in choosing and selecting. I think we should pat ourselves on the back for having the wherewithal to keep a good record over the years. We've always archived everything that we've done, either still photographs or videos. And, really, the tough thing was not putting it together. It was like, there's so much material, right?
so much. I mean, so much to choose from. Oh, kudos to you. I mean, you're really the one that made sure we got everything videoed, that we got a lot of the photos. I tend to kind of forget.
Well,
Uh,
that's my
or if I'm in it, well, if I'm in it, I was in most of them. So when you're in it, it is hard to to video yourself.
well,
But
that really comes from my training and my experience working in television, producing documentary films for a long time. I learned way back then how important it was when you got around to looking for assets for a documentary or any TV show. It's called television. It's not radio. You don't want just a talking head. You want images. You want to show depictions of what people are talking about. So
mhm.
fortunately, we hired some really fabulous still photographers and videographers to record our every move. And so the montage that people are going to see at this event, it's going to knock their socks off on it.
Oh my gosh, when you look at it all together, and then not everybody could possibly come to every show, but we really have fulfilled our mission when I think about it in terms of the stories we've heard, the testimonials. I reached out to a lot of our performers asking for, just reflections about their experience, and so many talked about how it really inspired them and taught them and affected them their career,
Yeah.
and
So,
that's really rewarding, as
so
a team.
you, you mentioned March 20th. Well, what is March 20th?
So it's a benefit performance at the Cabaret in Indianapolis downtown on Pennsylvania, and we are so lucky and honored to have Hampton Callaway, a friend of Tom's, and I've gotten to know her now, consider her a friend also, but she's going to do a wonderful performance of Cole Porter music, Indiana native, and we are just so thrilled to have this at the Cabaret, to have her, to also celebrate our 10 years. And then, of course, there's a dear friend and Indianapolis socialite, Ben Solomon, who died recently of pancreatic cancer, and he loved Cole Porter, made that very clear all his years. And so we are also dedicating the show to him in memory of him. So it's so many
Well,
special things, so many special magical things happening in one evening.
yes, the synergy for this is really interesting. I think Ann Hampton Callaway, I met in 1996. I was a member of the men's chorus, and she was a featured guest. And that was uh, earlier in her career. And at the time, it was not, it was regular for her to appear with gay choruses around the country. In fact, I could make the argument that, that's one way that she got her name out there and became well known and very popular in certain circles. A lot of a lot of men in gay choruses happen to be highly educated in music and popular culture. So it was really a coup that we had her back then in 1996. Look what's happened to her ever since. Tony nominated. She has, recorded numerous CDs. She's also a songwriter.
Mhm.
Anyway, concerts,
She was just
concerts
given an
now.
award. She was just given an award I saw for the
She
cabaret.
the Mac Award,
Yeah.
it's a cabaret award, and she's also on the cover of Cabaret Scenes. And but there's no question that she is, she's famous, she's renowned, she's regarded as one of the finest interpreters of the Great American Songbook. And when she was here with us, Dustin, a few years back, when she agreed to do a fundraiser for us, or not a fundraiser, but a master class for us. She happened to be
Mhm.
doing a gig at Feinstein's at Hotel Carmichael, and she was willing on that same day, the day of her Saturday performance, to gather with a group of 10 students that we put together, and she did this master class in a private home. We'll give a shout out to Linda Goki and Don Katz, a couple big supporters of ours who graciously allowed us to do this event there. So that's how it started. And then over the years, I interviewed her, in my column, and she's been on my podcast, and her sister as well. I got to know her. So that's how I established the foundation. And then you and I have seen her at least a few times together, haven't
Good
we?
time. And I'll say, as a performer, musician myself, the thing I respect and love about her is that she's a singer, pianist, like I do. I sing and play, and I write songs, and she writes songs. I mean, you don't often see that where someone can play so well, they sing and write music.
She is a consummate entertainer. So Ann Hampton Callaway, March 20th, and the cabaret, for those who've never been there, it is a swanky, sophisticated, urbane location. And if you've never been to Sea Cabaret in New York City, this is what you would find in a bigger market. And they host a lot of Tony nominated or Tony winning Broadway people. Their audiences have come to love and expect that kind of entertainment. The cabaret it was designed for cabaret. It's 194 seats, and it's designed to look like old Hollywood and also old New York. It's kind of a combination of both. And so you have this really elegant space, and you have round tables and banquettes like in the old Hollywood days. And
I'm going to
it's
say we are so lucky to have a venue like that in Indianapolis. I mean, when you think about other Midwest cities, they don't quite have something like that.
and
It's really
and the
incredible.
and the thing is, you're going to see Anne Hampton Callaway's debut at the Cabaret. She's not performed there before. And when she agreed to do this fundraiser, by the way, when she did our master class, she said, "I'd be interested in helping you if you ever want to do a fundraiser. Let's talk." And that's exactly what happened. The timing was perfect. And so
Yeah.
we thought immediately, well, where would be the best place to present her? And then, of course, in a cabaret, because they have a built-in audience. But nevertheless, the seating's limited. And I'm thrilled to say at this point, Dustin, we have sold over half the house.
Yes, it's so exciting.
So if you're listening, you know, get those tickets now. Go to the Cabaret website at thecabaret.org. And when you get to their homepage, go to the menu and look under community events. It's not on their season, this show, but that's where you can get the ticket page. It will take you right there.
We probably should mention that we have a few of our own singers
Well,
performing
that
that
I was about to get
evening.
there. I'm doing this, I'm looking at my notes. I want to
Yeah.
make sure, though, that I don't chime in on the fact that first time I met you in person, we have become Facebook friends, but the very first time I laid eyes on you was at an event, an opening of an architectural firm, a mutual friend. And there you were sitting at the piano, and Ben Solomon, who was a close friend of yours, a fan of
Mhm.
Porter's, he was making a request to you. Oh, Dustin, play some Porter for me. And so it's ironic. It's well, not it is ironic that that's my first meeting you, and I had known Ben up to that point. But the fact that you had that relationship as friends and that he was a devotee and a
That's
fan of
true.
yours, yeah. So
I never thought about that, and now it's kind of come full circle with the
yeah.
10-year anniversary. That's
And if
true.
you recall, Ben was the very first person, one of the first, there were only a few people, Frank Basile and Katrina Basile, big supporters of ours, wrote our first check. And they came to your home to hear us perform Calder. And Ben was the second one. Do you remember? You don't remember. Ben actually came to your home to hear
Oh,
Calder.
yeah. Now that you say that, I mean,
Yeah. So Ben
big age
truly,
show.
and he did come to some of our cabaret shows. So it just seemed a natural for us to honor him in this way. So it's going to be a special evening for all kind of reasons. And you were about to say there's a lot to
Yes,
really talk about. Before opening for her are a couple of very special performers. So talk about that.
yes. Well, this is a benefit for Magic Thread Cabaret, and of course, as part of our mission, we have a few of our up and coming performers that are going to have the stage, and I'll be playing piano also with them. And we're doing a few songs from our upcoming 2026 show, Cabaret Latino Songs of the Americas, which we did in 25 at the Indiana Historical Society, and it was a huge hit. And they're going to sing a few selections from that show, and that is Ray and Hava.
Ray
Um,
Lyman and Heva Luna Espe, and they are
yes, thank
they
you. I
are
didn't want to
both
mispronounce. I didn't want to mispronounce any names, but yes,
and they
Ray.
are and they are both Venezuelan immigrants. They didn't
That's
know each
right.
other prior to this, but the show is bilingual and it covers it's a survey of the Latin American music. I'm very pleased to share the fact that it's very personal to me being a Mexican American. I curated the music of the show. It's basically the soundtrack of my life. And Dustin and I actually we did it a third time as well, Dustin. We did it at
Oh,
Indy
that's right.
Fringe
That's
back
right.
at right after COVID ended, like about 2021, if I'm not
It
mistaken.
has evolved through the years, and this year is going to be I mean, even every time it gets better, but we're adding so many theatrical elements and
And
visual.
this music, obviously based on what's going on in this country right now, and all the controversy over immigration and so
Yeah,
on and so forth, it's especially important that we pay tribute to this music just to remind
absolutely,
just to
absolutely.
remind non-Latinos, because it's a bilingual concert, by the way, and the songs are sung in both Spanish and English because
Yep.
the songs that we sung are known in both languages. And a lot of this music is part of our popular culture. And I wanted to remind people that as a nation of immigrants, the Italians, the Germans, people from all these countries created music that's in the Great American Songbook. But
That
there
is
is also
right.
America. America, as we are now hearing a lot about, encompasses a whole hemisphere of America, South America, Central America. And
It's
so
all America. That's right.
if you think in those terms, this is all American music, but it's also very popular in American culture, classics like Bésame Mucho and Quizás Quizás. Tell them about some of our modern
Oh yeah. Well,
representatives.
I didn't want to spill the tea on which exact songs we're doing, but I will
Well,
tell
not
you,
that,
like,
but maybe the people we're paying tribute to.
yes. Well, the three selections we're doing are gems of American Songbook, and they're three of actually my favorite songs in the
Well,
show.
what I'm talking about is we're paying tribute to artists like Gloria Estefan, Bad
Oh,
Bunny,
oh yes, of course.
Shakira, and
Celia Cruz.
Kelly
Um,
Cruz. Yeah, so you're going to get a real taste of Latin America in general through this music. And there are a few songs that people grew up with, like me in the 50s and 60s, Guantanamera. Well, actually, a lot of this music, as I said, I curated, so
Yeah.
it goes from the 40s right to the present.
And our mission, obviously, we've talked about is to coach, to inspire, to give young performers a stage and produce shows for them. But when you think about it, when you add in that multicultural, the diversity piece that is our other part of our mission, it's really a double sword. I mean, it's which is exactly what we're doing with this show. It's just
You know, when I
very.
looked at when I looked at the last draft of the video that audiences are going to see, it's clear that we have fulfilled our mission, because our performers and our musicians, don't forget all the musicians. The musicians are all
Oh yeah.
professional. They make a living. So, I would say that we present a professional product. Our singers may be avocational. They may not do it for a living, but someday they hope to. And we've had a few who do make it for a living. Cody Lingner, who's been in 5 Broadway shows. We brought him back from New York for his hometown cabaret debut. So we take great pride in that. And the same with Melissa Schott, who's also a New York performer, and both of them. And you look at the videos, Dustin, and we have hired people of all genders, races, ages, sexuality.
That's right, all across
So,
the map. For this show, when we do it October 3rd at Hendrix Live, we will have, as you know, we will have I think we're up to 11 piece. I have to look at the numbers, but we have a 11-piece Latin band. As you said, musicians are a huge part of our productions. So it's
and
great.
that production is also going to be very special because that theater, 600 seats, but has all the bells and whistles. And we're going to be doing a lot of upgrading, things that we couldn't do with the Historical Society, lighting and sound. And, we'll be doing, a video element. So it's going to be very, very special. And of course, one of our new cast members who's going to be opening for Anne is newly arrived. His name is Ray Lyman. I mentioned him before. He happens to be a broadcaster with Telemundo, the Spanish language TV station. So hopefully we'll attract a large Latino audience. But, as you know, Dustin, we really want to, particularly at this time, we want to educate our non-Latino audience about how important it is to pay tribute to this music that is actually a part of American culture, as I said earlier.
Yes,
So,
I agree.
and we've got big plans for 2027. Why don't you talk about that?
Oh yes, yes. People have been asking us for a long time. Oh, we loved Calder the Musical. Um, when are you going to bring that back or do something with it? And so we both agreed we'd love to have an orchestration with an orchestra, a mini orchestra, and do a concert cabaret version of all the music that we wrote. Yeah,
We'll be at the Toby Theater
yeah,
at the Indianapolis Newfields, and that'll be next June. The exact date, it'll probably be a 2-night run. So, but we can announce it now, and
yeah. The
things
Toby, which
change.
is, I mean, what a great venue for a musical about an artist. It's just
And
a
talk
dream.
about the score. Talk about the
Yeah.
score.
So we have a few more songs we're going to compose for this new version, but we've got great. Oh, I mean, just as you know, Tom, we've already kind of precast some singing roles, and we have some big names singing these original songs we wrote. And to hear that music we wrote and an orchestra playing it, and it's just going to be a dream come true. And I think it's going to be very moving. We have projections that we're going to use from the original show, and just
Well, rather
yeah,
than trying to do a full production, because we know the reality of what those costs would be, but
yeah,
as a reviewer, I'm very conscious in the last 5, 10 years, concerts have become very popular. Of course, on Broadway, but even locally, there've been some just tremendous concerts of musicals, and that's where I got the inspiration that we could revisit this material, give us a chance to hear a full orchestra, and yet not have to worry about all the expense related to, putting together sets and lighting and all that comes with the full production. So it's
Yeah.
going to get as close as you can get, but and I could say that, we haven't signed a contract with her, but in principle, we've agreed. That's Cindy Collins, one of the co-founders of Actors Theater of Indiana. Talk about a triple threat. She's agreed to direct this concert version. So we're very excited about that.
Yeah, and I adore her. I just did an interview with her
Hey, let's
for
talk
no.
about those interviews. You've been getting a lot of press lately for people who want to know more about you other than the podcasts that we did together. Tell them about those two shows because they can find them online.
That's right. That's right. Uh, ATI, Broadway Sam did an interview with me here, located in Carmel, Indiana, and that is
Actors
on
Theater of Indiana for people who
Actors
don't
Theater of
know.
Indiana. They can go to their website or social media and find it. And also, No Title Needed was the show I just did, and they did a fabulous job putting that together. I was really impressed with the video footage and the photos they
I thought
inserted.
you didn't like watching yourself. Did you finally force yourself to do that?
Well, yeah, I don't know what they did. They must have done some filter. I actually look somewhat normal on the screen and thought, okay, I'll watch this. And I was just really impressed with the way they produced it, and it really tells the story without overtelling the story of my journey.
It's
And
called editing.
oh, they did such a great job of editing. Yeah, but
And
yeah,
we need to give us we need
besides
to give a
being
shout out to Philip Peluso who produced it and
Bill,
edited
oh
it.
yeah,
He
great job.
prefers Philip, I was told.
Okay, well,
And the
kudos to
shows
Phil.
the show is produced by Meg and Brad Osborne, who we now have a working relationship. They are our public relations firm. So we've been very, very fortunate to have them associated with us moving forward. Wouldn't you agree, Dustin?
Oh, they've just been amazing, and I'm so glad that we have them to also help promote what we're doing, and it's just been an honor to have these interviews. But yeah, it's available. It's also on social media. I
Well,
guess you.
just no title needed. Just Google no title
Yeah,
needed. It'll
no
get,
title needed.
they're actually on YouTube. So YouTube
Yeah.
and
Oh yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. But
they're easy to find. You can Google anything these days.
but
Okay,
yeah, just
so
those interviews talking about my upbringing, what inspired me, my early musical training, and then what led me to what we're doing, and also being an educator for 22 years now, and how that really has helped my talents in what we do,
okay,
now.
last thing, we got to wrap this up. The last thing
Yeah.
is tell us about the Sean Baker Trio and your relationship or history with Sean Baker. This is the trio that will be performing with Anne, and they've worked together previously a few times. So it's really wonderful. When she travels around, she has certain people that she likes to play with. Sometimes she'll bring a music director that she's worked with, but when she's on the road, she enjoys having people locally that she can depend on. So
Yep.
let's give him a shout out, Sean
Yeah,
Baker.
Sean Baker, the music maker, is
And he's
his
in the other half of this program.
name.
I forgot to mention that. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, Sean Baker is the consummate master jazz pianist, amazing talent, and his trio's full of good musicians, and I can see why she loves having him.
Well, he told me, Dustin, well, you'll hear it in this other interview, but he told me the reason is because she trusts him because he's also a songwriter and a
That's
performer
right.
and a pianist.
He used to write. Well, I think he still does. He wrote a lot of commercial jingles, and he
Yeah.
has a real ear for the American Songbook, and he performs the American Songbook songs around Indianapolis. So yeah, he's worth coming to see too. It's such a great, as you said, synergy of talents for this. It's going to be amazing.
A
So don't
lot
miss
of
out. Don't miss
it's
it.
Yeah, and so the proceeds for this benefit, Magic Thread Cabaret, and well, our producing company Klein and Alvarez Productions, Magic Thread Cabaret, and Calder the Musical, they are our brands. But the proceeds go towards Magic Thread Cabaret, which is a not-for-profit entity, and the funds will go towards operation expenses and our upcoming shows, like Calder the Musical, and of course Cabaret Latino. So we hope that you will come and support us. And once again, Dustin, tell people how they can find tickets.
Yeah, so they can either go to magicthreadcabaret.com or they can go to the Cabaret website. Click on community events on the website. They'll see, and Hampton Callaway will come up, and then there's a direct link to the tickets. Or they could call the box office, the Cabaret box office, I believe. Yeah,
And
also.
that is 317-275-1169. There are still, like me, dinosaurs, who would much rather make a phone call than deal with the website, ordering tickets and all that. But they have a really great staff there. And believe me, if you've never been to the Cabaret, it is really a very special venue. And to have someone of Ann Hampton Callaway's caliber, I mean, we still pinch ourselves. The fact that this star would come to Indianapolis on behalf of a small arts organization tells you a lot about her character. And it tells you a lot about our mission. She validates what we're doing. She strongly believes in an organization like ours that champions emerging artists, young people. Dustin and I, we love it. We have discovered people, haven't we, Dustin?
Diamonds in the rough, for sure. It's so rewarding.
And you being a teacher, that's in your nature or blood anyway, right?
It is, and yeah, that's what I do all day and night now.
and in terms of my
but it
own
also gives me a creative outlet. It gives me a chance to put my creative talents out there too. So it's
well, we have that in common. I'm not an educator, but I kind of am because I've been in the media for many years in television, and I'm a writer, a journalist. So, that's partly, there's a lot of education attached to that. I like to inform and educate people about whatever I'm writing about. And then in addition to that, I'm also an artist. I'm an actor, and I've sung. I can't dance. That's something that's eluded me. I don't know how to do combinations. But anyway, this gives me a chance to also express my artistic talents. And so I think that's why Dustin and I work well together. I feel like I get you artistically, and I believe that you feel the same way. Don't want to put you on a spot, but you better say the right thing.
Well, I love producing because, from when I was a little kid, I used to put on talent shows in the living room, and I would picky about the lighting, and I'd make programs, and I would perform. And so the whole magic of that I get to do professionally now. So
yeah. Okay, well, like I said, this is a two-part show. So again, we encourage you all to come out and support us. And in the meantime, I will see you on the aisle, and Dustin will see you from the stage.
That's right. I hope to see lots of faces out there. I can't wait.
Okay. Talk to you soon.
Thanks, Tom. Bye.
Join me now as I go on the aisle for an interview with Sean Baker. Hey, Sean. Great to have you on my podcast.
Thank you for having me.
You are known as the music maker, Sean Baker, the music maker. How did that come about?
That happened in high school, actually, and it stuck with me ever since. And that's just what I go by.
So that's your moniker, huh?
Yep.
I think it's very effective. Do you not? I mean,
oh yeah. In fact, it's become where my first name is Sean Baker. Everybody just calls me, "Hey, Sean Baker," as if my last name is the music maker.
Yeah. That's fun. Okay, so the reason you're here today talking with me, because you and your trio, the Sean Baker Trio, will be performing with Ann Hampton Callaway, the one and only renowned cabaret and concert star. And she is coming to do a premiere of a show called I Get a Kick Out of You, a tribute to Cole Porter. And you and your trio will be accompanying her at the Cabaret This is a benefit for Magic Thread Cabaret. It's my show. And
Right.
so it's great to have you on because you can give the perspective. You give us the perspective of what it's like, you've performed with her before. So let's get into all that. We'll get into the details later. So tell me about you. You performed with her previously. When were those? When were those performances and where?
I can't recall the exact dates, but the first time I worked with her was with the Carmel Symphony Orchestra at the Palladium. It was for a holiday show. The second time was at the Jazz Kitchen within the last year. We did a show there. And then there was a couple times she took my trio in the Midwest area. We went and did a few shows somewhere else together. I probably worked with her 5 times total.
Oh, wow.
But I think what's interesting is, someone who tours like she does, I think it's comforting to her to know that whatever town she goes in, she's got someone that she trusts. And I'm honored to be the one she calls when she comes here.
How is it that you found each other? Do you remember?
Yes, I do, and I can't remember his name, but the symphony at that time for her show needed somebody classically trained that could read music, but also could play jazz.
Oh.
And my name came up with 3 different people, so they were like, well, we better call him.
Well, great. I didn't know that you were classically trained, but that's part of my question today. I don't know much about your background, Sean. We've known each other because Dustin Klein, who is the artistic director of Magic Thread Cabaret, and my collaborator, he's known you for a long time. And but I think I met you, if I'm not mistaken, I met you when you were playing at the Connoisseur Room. At the time, John Mays and I'm
Tom
blanking.
Foreman.
Tom Foreman
Yeah.
owned the Connoisseur, and then briefly the Cabaret, Shannon Farcell's Cabaret, was like their very first home, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, back when it was American Cabaret, it was at the
Correct.
what's that building called?
The Athenaeum.
Yeah, yes. And then they moved to that Connoisseur Room.
And then Shannon changed the model.
Right.
Small and intimate.
Then
right?
they moved to the Circle for a while,
Columbia Club.
Columbia Club, and now here they are in their permanent home, which when I do a Broadway sing-along twice a year with Scott Semester, and first time I brought my father to the show, he's like, Sean, this used to be a roller skating rink when I was a kid.
Yeah, it was also a gay bar, Jimmy's. for a
It
while,
was,
too.
and
Yeah.
also called Jaguar for a while. I played piano there for a while.
Jaguar. What was that?
Maybe like the early 2000s. Somebody
Okay.
had bought it. Jimmy's was gone, and they turned it into a little dance club. It didn't last long. It wasn't
Okay.
very successful.
I missed that one. The Jaguar, huh? Okay.
And there was also a Utopia, was a bar there for a while.
Utopia, yeah, I remember
Yeah,
that.
mhm.
And didn't they move over to another space somewhere?
No,
okay.
Utopia just closed.
Utopia. Wow.
Yeah, a lot of
that's
history in that building.
No kidding. Okay, so but back to where I met you at the Connoisseur Room. You performed with what was an open mic, or describe that?
I had a unique position there. I approached John about he approached me about doing live music. He had seen me play at Agio for years, and we lived right down the street from each other, so we always were talking and stuff. And I said, John, what if you make me the house pianist for whatever many nights of the week there are, but each week I'll bring in a different singer. So it was kind of a unique opportunity back then to.
Oh, yeah.
I would book all the singers, and I would get to play with them each night. So I had a nice, consistent job.
Now I recall all that. Yeah. And how long were you there?
I was there since they opened until they closed.
And how long was that? Do you remember?
I believe they opened in 2012 and then closed 2018.
Wow.
right on New Year's Eve.
That's a long time
Yeah, it
to
was.
be in the restaurant business too. And I think there had been a pretty high-end restaurant there before John and Tom took over too.
Yeah,
wasn't it? I can't
John
remember.
Irish, I think, had a restaurant there
Yeah, that's right.
called the Finish Line, I believe.
That's right. And I always loved that room. I just absolutely loved it. It was just talk about, it reminded me a lot of a New York room. Really small, very intimate, and that's what the cabaret art form is all about. And they had a beautiful piano, and and that was at a time when Indianapolis isn't where it is right now, where there are plenty of places to choose from. There are very few venues like that, as I recall, that were elegant, where you could dress up. It was very sophisticated. And it's surprising that, nothing's there and hasn't been there for a while. Aren't you surprised?
Yeah, the restaurant that took over after Chef Joseph's closed. I stepped foot in there one time, but yeah, it just I don't know.
Chef Joseph. I remember that time too. And what was the chef's name? Joseph's name? What was his last
Joseph Hydrick.
Heydrich. Yeah. And he was an incredible. He won a lot of awards. He was a big deal chef. Okay, so you've let's go back though. Are you from Indianapolis?
I am from Indianapolis.
Okay, where'd you go to school?
I went to North Central High School, Eastwood Middle School, John Strange Elementary School, which is now torn down. I'm so sad. I went to IU Bloomington Music School.
Wow. Sean, those are great credentials. I mean, North Central has a really is well known for its music program and its teachers, right?
Yeah, I learned a lot there.
When did you start playing the piano?
I started playing the piano when I was about 5 or 6.
Wow. And how'd that come about?
Because my older brother was taking piano lessons, and I was like, well, why don't I get to?
Okay.
Of course, I wouldn't say he had no talent, he just didn't stick with it, but I did.
Okay. And so you practiced a lot? You had a good teacher, or
I had
what's
a
the story?
wonderful teacher who led me all the way through high school before she retired and right before I went to IU. So I had she did a lot of musical theory training with me, not just sitting at the piano learning songs, but like sitting down and learning music theory and written out stuff. That was very helpful going into IU. A lot of classical music, and then somewhere around middle school, I got interested, as most kids do, in rock and roll music or jazz. I was really into jazz too. And so she kind of guided me in those areas, even though it wasn't her expertise. So I learned a lot of diverse music. She trained me on the harpsichord for a while. She had a little parsonage organ upstairs. So I had some organ training, which is great because now I'm an organist at my church playing the pipe organ. So
Where's that?
First Congregational United Church of Christ. It's in Meridian Hills at 71st in Pennsylvania. And we're really proud. We're celebrating our 32 years of being the oldest open and affirming church in the city.
I'm trying to place it. Of course I know where it is. It's on Meridian. And
No, it's not on Meridian. If you go to Meridian and 71st and head east to Pennsylvania, it's tucked away in a neighborhood.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sure I've been there. I've seen it, during my many years here. So you must have a huge repertoire. I mean, you classically trained, you do church music, you do Broadway, you do jazz.
Well, most of the gigs that I do in town, I call them, is just me solo, because I'm a singer too. I don't know if you knew that.
Yeah,
but
yeah, I did.
So
You're a crooner.
Well, sometimes. I have a nice smooth baritone voice.
Uh-huh.
My vocal teacher says I sound like Steve Lawrence.
Really?
But
Okay.
but I do a mix of music. I don't stick with one genre. I try to keep it
So
diverse.
you're very versatile.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you really must have a lot of songs in your repertoire, right? That you've memorized and you
Oh,
know
yeah.
off the- You can take requests and you probably have
Oh, yeah.
done that. Yeah.
It's funny. I know thousands of songs, and sometimes I don't hit the mark, people will request something. It's like, I know all these songs, but I don't know that one.
Really?
So I have to convince them to listen to a different one or something.
Oh, God. How many times have you had to play Sweet Caroline in your career?
Many, many times. Yes.
Did you see the movie recently, by the way?
No, I have not seen
Oh,
it.
yeah.
No.
I think you'll enjoy it a lot because Sweet Caroline, as you can imagine, plays heavily in it. But okay, so you've managed to carve out a living doing what you do at Indy, right?
Yeah. May I hang on to what you were saying for a minute?
What?
About Sweet Caroline and what I call just dumb bar songs, which I'll do because people love them. I was playing at the Hotel Carmichael one time, and there was a wedding party, getting ready to have their wedding. Bunch of screaming people, loud talking, asking me to play Billy Joel, Elton John, Sweet Caroline, Van Halen. This huge group, and they come in, they give me like $1 tip. And then after...
And they're all drunk, probably.
Yeah, but after they clear out, this elderly couple walks up and says, "You do a nice job.
Oh.
We're celebrating our 92nd, or his 92nd birthday. I can't remember how long they've been married." And he says, "Kid, we would really like it if you could play our song when we met, but you probably don't know it." And it was a song called "It Isn't Fair" by Don Cornell from the late 40s. And I knew it. But I said, well, I don't know. Let me look that up and see what I can do. And it's a big song, like with a lot of Liberace arpeggios and a big voice. I don't know if you know what his voice sounds like. It's like, "It isn't fair for you to taunt me," that kind of thing. And so I ripped it out, and they left me a $100 tip.
I love that.
So those are the fun things that happen with...
So how old are you, if I may ask? Just give you a range.
36 for the... No, I'm just kidding. 29 for the 25th time.
Okay.
No.
All right. But you're an old soul, I bet.
I always was, even as a
Okay.
teenager, yeah.
But you probably grew up with your parents. I'm 78. How old are your parents? Tell me that.
Late 70s, early 80s.
Okay, so I grew up listening to 1940s music, and I can still recall growing up and hearing the radio and hearing big band music because they were still playing it. Just like now, younger people think that 60s music is ancient, but they're listening. You know what I'm saying.
Well, music from my high school days in the 80s, young kids are listening to. That's so retro. It's like,
Exactly, and and it's a generations come and go. They all have the music they grew up with in the home that they grew up, and that's what. So I grew up with the 40s, and I love it. For me, it gives me warm memories of, that's the part of the soundtrack of my life, right?
well, in my home, we weren't listening to that. My dad was a DJ on several stations in the early 70s.
Oh, really? Where?
He was actually on WTLC for a while, WIFE,
Wow.
so many. But so we were listening to mainly.
Baker. What's his first name?
Well, Wally Baker, but he on most of the stations he went by Scotty O'Brien.
I remember
Or,
him.
I forget some of the other ones that he had.
Yeah.
Troy Summers was one of his names on WIFE. But yeah, the jumping into getting into big band music and jazz, that was all me and my own doing in my bedroom with my own records.
Let's go back to IU, though. You had to IU, Jacobs School of Music.
Mhm.
That's a big deal. I mean, you got really good training there, huh? Some great teachers.
Yeah, it's interesting. I went in as a piano major. But I wanted to really explore, because I'm also an orchestrator and arranger. I write music. I've written stuff for orchestras, and so I really wanted to focus more on writing. And so they were struggling, telling me where to go. It's like, should I be a composition major and focus on classical music? And I said, no, I want to be like Henry Mancini. I want to do film music. I want to write jazz tunes. I want to write commercial music that'll actually make me money. So they said, you should join the Singing Hoosiers and be a jazz major. So I kind of went around for a while before I settled. And then I ended up putting my focus on vocal, because I was learning a lot of vocal arranging and singing as well. So I'm
So
not quite sure what I finished.
So you were a
with.
singer with the Hoosiers.
Yeah,
Wow.
and did a lot of their arrangements back then too.
That's an incredible background. And so were there a lot of like really well-known faculty people at the time that you studied with?
Of course, David Baker.
I was going to
Yeah,
ask about
no
him.
relation, of course, but Dominic Sparrow was also a really good teacher, especially more towards the arranging side, teaching me stuff like that.
David Baker, I had the great honor of producing a documentary on him when I worked at Channel 6, and he was one of the kindest, most generous men I ever met. And, his manner, he just had this aura about him, and, it's hard, the contributions he made, right? Don't you feel
Yeah.
fortunate that you were in his presence and learned from him?
It was a great experience.
Yeah, for people who don't know who David Baker was, he's an icon in the jazz world as a composer. He played, what did he play? He played several instruments, but what were remind me.
Well, trombone was what he started with, if I remember. He was part of the, what was it called, something Russell Quintet. And then he kind of made a name for himself with jazz cello.
Yes.
When
That's when I did the documentary, he was playing the cello, yeah.
But you know who my greatest teacher was? You ready for this?
Yeah.
Henry Mancini.
How did that come about?
Well, when I was in high school, I would get permission to skip out of study hall, and I would go to the band room, and I was just obsessed with this Henry Mancini songbook, and I was determined to learn and memorize every song in there. And the orchestra teacher, Dick Dennis, came out and says, "Sean, you really like Mancini?" And I said, "Yeah." He says, "Well, I work for him." So apparently Dick Dennis was, kind of like when Ann has musicians in different cities, he was the concert master for most of the Midwest tours. And he says, "Well, write him a letter." And it struck up a back and forth mentorship by mail. I would send him my arrangements, and he would tell me what I'm doing right or wrong.
That's amazing.
So, and then he passed away, in the early '90s. But
Did you ever actually meet him?
oh yeah, several times.
Wow, you went out to L.A. or
No,
did he come on tour here or something?
If he was in tour like in Indianapolis or in Cincinnati, I would go see him.
Oh my
And
goodness.
so the first time I met him, it's like, "Hey, I'm that kid you've been writing letters to."
That's a great story. That is a great story. And did he tell you stories about what inspired him to write, like Moon River, or talk about, just the business?
We
What did
didn't.
you-
In our relationship, we didn't spend a lot of time really getting personal or getting to know each other. It was just more like I'd send him
Gotcha.
stuff in the mail and he'd write back. We rarely spoke on the phone, but I consider that mentorship because I learned a lot from what he told me.
I happen to think in my own experience, I've met a lot of famous people, but, I have done that intentionally because it has nothing to do with I'm starstruck, although I have been. But I believe if you surround yourself or if you're around greatness, it inspires you to be the best you can if you're an artist. Would you agree?
Yeah.
And I'm sure being in his shadow must have been an extraordinary inspiration, was it not?
Yeah, because back then I was like, I'm just going to basically be the next Mancini. I want to, but my life just took me different paths, and I'm really happy with what I'm doing. And
How do you feel about that? I consistently ask that question here at in this studio to artists. What do you think about that notion that if you're really good, you would be in New York or Chicago or a bigger market? What do you think about that?
Well, I don't want to boast. I don't know if you've ever heard me perform, but if I went to New York, I would be successful. The thing is, and it could be that as I've gotten older, but not everybody can be famous all the time, or like huge famous. Local communities need talent. They need the arts as well, and they need it to be accessible. And I don't have the mental, my mental makeup. I would even if I'm talented enough to do that, I don't want to. It wouldn't make me happy. The stress level, I just like the easy, give me the simple life, one of my favorite songs.
And it sounds like you get to do good work.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And would you say that because it's much more competitive in the big city, that just adds to the pressure? But here, there's not as much pressure, right?
Not as much pressure. I would say the only competition is just that everyone wants to work as much as possible.
Mm-hmm.
But most of us, we have a community here where, like, hey, I can't do this. Can you do it that day? And, we work together. So I don't feel like there's any backstabbing going on in this community.
Well, you know what? The proof is in the pudding. If you weren't good, you wouldn't be working with Hampton Callaway.
Well, true.
Because Hampton Callaway, for those who don't know who she is, just Google her and see her. I've never known anyone who works as hard to market herself as Ann Hampton Callaway. Her social media, I don't know when she gets the time to do it because her itinerary, it's crazy. She's like always on the road, So anyway, what makes working with her unique?
I think it's, and I don't know what her experience is with other pianists in other cities, but I feel like the fact that she knows that I'm a vocalist adds to the level of her trust in my playing. Because, her music is very well written out, and, she's very particular about making sure we play the ink and not just kind of fuddle around. But often there's tunes where there's parts where they're loose and I'm just supposed to kind of fill in, and we call it accompanying a singer. But because I'm a singer too, I kind of know what I would want rather than just play notes,
Yeah. Okay.
But it's also unique working with her because I don't know, we just get along really well. We goof around, we talk, and she actually had me sing backups on one of her on the last concert. That was fun, so I got to actually sing with her.
How do you feel about working on a world premiere with her, doing a whole evening of a quarter and I should say that it is a world premiere.
Yeah, it is, and it's going to be exciting. And I'm very honored to be the first group of musicians, pianists, to be trusted with a brand new workshop process.
Well, I'm gonna, why not? I'm gonna take credit because I suggested to her. I said, "This is Indiana, and if you did an evening of a porter, that would really, number one, help sell tickets, but it would give you an opportunity to, to demonstrate that you really are one of the best interpreters of Great American Songbook, and who better than Cole Porter? I've heard her do a lot of shows, and heard her do a lot of Cole Porter. And the spontaneous version that she did of every time we say goodbye at the end of her set, when we played with her, she sent it to me today so that we could use it to promote, and it made me cry. I mean, just the emotional depth that she put into that song was just remarkable.
Yeah, she's one of those singers. There's jazz singers, and there's jazz singers. I would equate it to like. Back when Frank Sinatra was popular, people would call him a jazz singer. I would call him a pop singer. Mel Torme was a jazz singer.
Judy Garland was actually a jazz singer.
Ann Hampton Callaway can take a song and put emotion and it's even about the way she has the diction with certain words. She just has a way of drawing you into the lyric.
Well, she's a storyteller.
Yeah, that's
She knows how to tell a story and draw you in. I like to say as a reviewer that she creates these little gems, these little theater pieces, and they're filled with color and nuance. And the best singers like Sinatra, they could really they could communicate with those lyrics a story that makes them unique, not just your ordinary, let's just sing the music, and
that's why when you said, "Oh, Sean, you're a crooner," I try to be more like Mel Torme or Ann Hampton Callaway, even if I sound like Steve Lawrence. I try to put something into the song.
pitch to your friends and your fans about the show and why they should come and see it.
Yeah, a lot of people found out I was doing this, and I'm apologizing to you. It wasn't until we talked about a month ago that I realized it was actually a public show. So I have been promoting it now, and everyone's very excited. So I hope we're doing well on sales.
We actually are doing well, but I want people to know that she typically, Ann does quite well. She sold out the show that I saw at the Jazz Kitchen, the first show, and I've seen her perform to, huge audiences at the Palladium, at the Symphony. She was here for a month one time with the Yuletide with her sister Liz. So
Yeah.
she's got a name, she's got a reputation, and she's got a fan base. So I would say don't take it for granted. Don't wait till the last minute.
Oh, yeah.
And because it's a world premiere, and if you love Cole Porter, that's another reason that, and that it's
Yeah,
being
how
done
lucky-
here in Indiana.
How lucky for anybody that goes to this show that they're getting to see something, like you said, a premiere, a world premiere. So
With a
that's
singer for caliber. And again, all you have to do is Google her, folks. While you're listening to this, go to your Safari and Google her, and you will see that this woman, she's like renowned. She's played all the major clubs, played with major symphony. How many recordings has she done?
I don't know. But when you Google, folks, it's Calla, not O. A lot of people think it's O. And she always jokes that she's neither the child of Lionel Hampton or Cab Callaway.
Yeah, and it's A-N-N, no E.
Right.
So don't put an E on the end of it. And of course, her sister Liz, I want to shout out her sister too. And when they sing together, that's, oh my gosh. Have you ever seen the two of them perform together live?
Only on a video. I've
Okay.
never seen them live.
It's magical. It's
Yeah.
magical. They do a 60s album, or is it 70s? Boomer, which is like, people my age, you'll love it. So check it out. So if people want to buy tickets to this show, they're available at our Magic Thread. And by the way, Magic Thread Cabaret, this benefits our organization and Dustin and I for the last 10 years. This is the celebration of our 10th anniversary. And if you're not aware of what we do, we are an incubator for local talent, young singers who aspire to be cabaret artists and also musicians. Over the years, Sean, we've worked with some of the best top musicians in the city, and that's why we're just thrilled that you're going to be involved in this project, So we are an organization that we preserve and promote the cabaret art form, and a lot of people don't know really what cabaret is. It depends on who you talk to. But as you know, oh, is that like the movie Cabaret? That kind of thing. No, there are no like Nazis in it, but anything like that. But you're going to find our tagline is connecting songs to the soul. And we talked about Ann, and that's one thing that she certainly is a master of. The mystical connection that occurs between a singer and a song, and you certainly know what that is. A singer and the soul, we call it. Because for us, it's kind of a spiritual exercise to be in a small room and, make people feel that you're connecting directly with them. And with the power of lyrics and music, it's quite magical.
Yeah, it's
And
easy to
that's
be
what we
a
do.
top 40 artist on a huge stadium separated from the crowd, but to me, it's more of a challenge to do intimate cabaret.
For young people who are listening, what would you say to them about pursuing a career like you have successfully performed for how many years that you have had?
Oh, since the early 90s. Since the late 1900s.
That's a good one. But really, what do you have to say to young people who may be listening?
Aside from make sure you have a backup job like I do, I'm a janitor and a church organist, but pursue it. Definitely pursue it. If you have that gift, it was given to you by the sovereign divine, whatever you want to call God. It comes from the spirit of the universe, and if it's something that is drawing you to do it, don't worry about if you make it to the big time in New York or LA, just do it. Just do it. Whatever you can do it. Don't let it go to waste.
Well said, my friend. Well, I'm looking forward to working with you on the show and to see you shine up on the stage with Miss Callaway.
Yeah.
And I hope to see all of you listening. And really, you don't want to miss this. It's really going to be special. So, Sean, I will be out there on the aisle.
Okay.
Our thanks go out to our media sponsor, Urban Times. Urban Times is a monthly news magazine which serves as the official newsletter for 15 Indianapolis neighborhoods, offering news about development, arts and entertainment, and from the business community. Thank you for joining me on the aisle. Please subscribe to my podcast, and if you want to hear previous episodes, find them on the All Indiana Podcast Network, or listen to them wherever you get your podcasts. This is Tom Alvarez.
Who will take center stage on the podcast next? Your seat on the aisle with Tom Alvarez awaits. Follow Tom on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok, and make sure to visit tomalvarez.studio. Watch Tom every other Thursday on Lifestyle Live on Wish TV, and make sure to listen every week here on the All Indiana Podcast Network.